Hi, it's Jez here for Windows Central, and today we're going to have a quick look at all the major new features of the Xbox One's summer update. This latest update will probably be remembered by gamers for background music, but really it represents a milestone for Microsoft and the Windows 10 convergence effort. It brings Xbox One fully into the Windows 10 device family, and in the coming months we'll see hundreds of extra apps and tons of new functionality hit the console. So yeah, let's take a look. So the first thing to notice is that My Games and Apps has now moved up to the top right of the dashboard. Beyond that, not a great deal of stuff has changed. Your pins are still down here. Most recently used items are still here. This column here will now be used to show you your recent updates, and also will display download percentages and download speed for apps that are updating, apps and games that are updating, mind you. Over on the community tab, not a great deal has changed here either. When you update the Xbox One for the first time, you'll get a question here asking you to set your activity sharing settings. The activity feed no longer automatically shares everything that you do. You now set whether you want to share things automatically or share them manually by clicking over here. One guide, pretty much the same, nothing's changed here. The app channels are still available, and yeah, that's pretty much the same as it was before. But one thing that has changed quite a lot is the store page. Now, the store page no longer has separate sections for apps, games, and so on. It now just displays everything in one big list, and we have these rows here, which is more similar to the one guide functionality. The rows display the most recent content that's been added to the store, including the apps and the games. I suppose this makes it a little bit more easy to use, and also when you do click on one of these buttons here, it links out to an all new store which has unified Windows 10 and Xbox One. So the new store is not a great deal different from the previous store, I guess. Probably the coolest thing that they've added is backwards compatible titles. They're now available to download straight from the store. Before you had to go through Xbox.com and jump through hoops to find them, but now they're there front and center and easy to find and easy to download. Now, I mentioned earlier that this update will probably be remembered for background audio, but really it should be remembered for the addition of the Universal Windows platform. Now, developers both small and large will be able to target the Xbox One with their apps in the future, and although there's not a great many Universal Windows apps in the store right now, the ones that are there work really well, and they are far faster than the previous apps developed for when the Xbox One was running on Windows 8 rather than Windows 10. So Groove is now a universal Windows app for Xbox One, and although we have lost the functionality of music videos, everything else about the app is, far superior to it was previously. It's exactly the same app that it is on PC. Oh, it just crashed there. Early days yet for this update, I think. Let's try again. So yeah, it works this time. So I think there's some problems with Universal Windows apps loading up from a resume state. Um, we've seen these problems before with Netflix and so on, but they're minor bugs that can be worked out. Also, Groove for Xbox One is not available to the public as of recording. This is just a preview, and it has all the same features that it does on PC. You can access purchase music, which I don't believe you could do with the previous app. You can access your OneDrive storage as before, and Groove Music Pass as well. You press the start button, the menu button to get the hamburger menu up. You navigate with the A button and snap into elements using the D-pad or the joystick. When you do select music, for example, let's listen to some, I don't know, let's listen to some Deftones. Deftones are good. So when you do play music on Xbox One, and I'm going to have to cut the audio out or else YouTube's going to block this video. So when you do play background music on Xbox One, it comes up in this new multitasking menu, which only displays if you're actually playing music. So when you do open the guide when you've got background audio running, it automatically snaps into this menu, which is now called multitasking. This is where you also snap apps. Now, Universal Windows apps for Xbox One currently don't support snapping, but that's something they can add in a future update, no doubt. Also, if an app wants to get background music working on the console, you do need to develop for the Universal Windows platform, and YouTube's app famously isn't on the Universal Windows platform. So it'll be interesting to see whether Google does jump on board with the UWP train. It works incredibly well, the multitasking features. The background music works exactly as you'd expect. You can pause, you can track skip, and also this button allows you to jump straight back into the app that was delivering background audio. Now, when the Universal Windows apps are working properly, they do feel a lot faster to switch between. For example, if I jump into Overwatch and then jump back to Groove Music, it loads up far faster than the previous Groove app did. As you can see, I've got the volume turned down because I don't want to get sued by a Perfect Circles record company, but it does play in the background when you switch back to a game. Like so. And there it is still playing. One thing to note as well is that there's no global mute for background audio in games. So if you do want to replace the audio of your game and not have the music overlap with what you're listening to on Groove and other music apps like Pandora, then you do have to go through the menu of each game and disable the audio. It's not a huge problem, but it would be nice if there was a global mute button maybe for background audio in games. But that's, again, probably something that can come with a future update. Now, speaking of other updates, we do have a massively revamped games and apps section, which is very, very welcome indeed, considering how large the Xbox One store has grown. I've got like 200 games and apps now available on my Xbox One. Well, Ready to Install now has its own tab, thankfully, and you can filter it, and you can change the size of the tiles so you can get more and more content front and center, and it loads up far, far faster than it did previously, as you can see. Change the tile size, you can sort by letter, and it even has alphabetical jump lists similar to on Windows 10. Now, one of the other cool things about this update is that there's more transparency for downloads. So if I want to update Groove Music, it goes down into this new queue tab, and also it will give me a download speed, percentage, and also let me know exactly how much data is being transferred. Additionally, this update also displays on the main dashboard, which brings a lot of extra clarity to the console, especially for new users. This update for games and apps really does prepare the console for the future, especially considering that the Xbox One will be fully forward compatible with the Xbox Scorpio, so all of the games that are available on Xbox One today will also be available on the next Xbox One, and presumably the Xbox One after that, partially thanks to the x86 architecture. Now, the final pillar in the Xbox One summer update is the addition of Cortana. Cortana creates some exciting possibilities for home automation, things like Internet of Things, companies like Insteon making smart bulbs and that sort of thing. But until then, gamers can enjoy some improved functionality as a result of her natural language commands. For example, I can say, "Hey Cortana, is Daniel Rubino online?"
Daniel was using last seen 6H ago, home, and is now offline.
Now, if Daniel was online, I'd be able to invite him straight into a party and that sort of thing. Cortana also has all her normal commands as a result of being connected to the internet. Now, being connected to the internet does increase her margin for error. She does misunderstand my commands quite often. I'm not sure if that's because of my accent. Some of our US writers have reported that she is very, very accurate for their consoles. I haven't found that she's been particularly accurate for me.
as a Brit, but I should count myself lucky because Cortana is only available in the US and the UK right now. Microsoft do say they're planning to roll her out to further countries, but the pace of updates for Cortana hasn't been the fastest, so I'm not very optimistic about that, to be quite honest. Now, you can activate Cortana on your Xbox even if you're not in supported region because of language independence. One of the coolest things about this update is that the Xbox One no longer links your language to your console's region. So you can have your console set to Germany, for example, as I do, and then change the language to English if you don't speak German. Now, some of the things I've found Cortana useful for are things I find are useful for on PC. Like, for example, if I'm playing a game and I just, need to find out what the weather's doing, I can just say, "Hey, Cortana, what's the weather like today?"
The forecast shows rain showers with a high of 18 and a low of 15.
Now, when she does snap in these sort of Bing searches, thankfully she doesn't become the active window, so she doesn't interrupt your game. Cortana does automatically unsnap as well afterwards. As so. Now, one of the annoying things about Cortana is if she does misunderstand what you're trying to say, she does snap in a Bing search, which can be annoying, especially if it's unintended. But again, Cortana will be developed further over time, and eventually, hopefully, she'll be the polished experience that we all sort of want from that sort of system.
Well, guys, those are all the major new features of the Xbox One Summer Update. Also, it supports HDR and 4K streaming playback if you've got an Xbox One S. I'll put a link to our Xbox One S review in the description, and also a link to our Xbox One Summer Update review in the description as well. If you've enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I've been Jez for Windows Central. You can say hi to me on Twitter @JezCorden. And as usual, thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.